Boom. Alrighty guys, so now we got the common issues in order, breaks it down, it's accurate. What's going on guys? So we've already released two AI companies that are growing pretty fast. This is the first one called Stock Talk at 170 users. It's like a investing platform that gives you really high level analytics, and also our platform Clonify, which is basically a personal brand builder that allows you to clone yourself and build your own personal brand using Clonify. And today guys, we're going to be building a brand new AI product called Flipify, which is basically the next generation version of carfax.com and Go High Level. And we're going to be building it from scratch today together, and you guys can copy everything that you see in this video. So let's dive into the presentation and explain why we're building flipify.ai and why I think it's going to be an absolute game changer. So the first thing we want to do guys is break down what Flipify is. And the goal of Flipify is to help the users of Flipify buy and sell used cars and track their profit and loss. So the features that we're going to be building out today guys are a car price estimator, a car history check, a local market price range, common issues that a specific car and a specific model may have, in-depth reporting, and eventually we're going to also build out a CRM dashboard. And the software we're going to be using to get this done guys is we're going to use the Replit coding agent to actually build out the software. We're going to use the Perplexity AI API to get real-time car prices from multiple different websites across the internet. And then we're going to use one of these special APIs that actually give us verified car information so that we can actually charge our customers per history report. And then we're going to use Stripe to actually receive all of the payments. Now, before we continue this breakdown, I want to actually show you guys why I'm so excited about this. Because if we go to Carfax here, we can see that this company was founded in 1984. And this company has grown over the years, but their main business model is still the same. It's an online marketplace that is used to buy and sell cars in America and Canada, and also provide vehicle history reports. And the thing that I'm most excited about, guys, is this vehicle history report part, because if we go to their website, we can see that they charge $70 per history vehicle report. And we can actually build this out and charge our customers like $10 for the exact same service. And therefore we have a massive competitive advantage. Now, the other thing that we can add in the software is our own CRM, where we can track all of our leads and our customers to actually, streamline our sales process. And that software that we're going to be adding to Flipify is very similar to this other company called Go High Level. And Go High Level started in 2018, and in 2024, they did $82.7 million in revenue. And so you guys can see the opportunity here, because Carfax last year did $500 million in revenue, and Go High Level did 82.7 million. So if we can just grab a small percentage of that market share with our own Flipify app, then we're going to, make some good money. So let's continue this breakdown. So the next thing I want to talk about, guys, is the actual user interface. So the stuff that the clients are going to be interfacing with. So the first thing they're going to be hit with is a sign up and sign in user authentication page, so we can actually track the users with their email. Then we're going to build out a car value estimator and the common issues a specific vehicle may have. The next thing we're going to do is add a vehicle history report, and then we're going to finish off with the CRM and inventory dashboard. And this is just going to be the MVP, but since this is an actual software that I'm going to be releasing, you guys are going to see me evolve this over time. And so the next thing I want to talk about, guys, is the marketing blueprint. Now, in the No Code Academy, I do talk about my marketing blueprint more in depth, but basically in a nutshell, the reason why I'm so confident in the software products that I'm releasing is that the software is the solution to the problem that the client has. So for Flipify, the goal is to help the users flip cars and make profits. And so I'm going to be making content of myself flipping cars using Flipify as the solution. And so if I can show people how I'm using Flipify to make profit on cars that I'm flipping, then people are also going to do the same. And so that's the marketing blueprint. So guys, now that we know all of this, let's hop into our computer and let's actually build this out. So what we're going to do first, guys, is we're going to head over to Replit, and now we're going to start out the actual build. So we're going to write out our first prompt. Basically, this prompt's going to be like, I want to build a car flipping website that has all of these services, blah, 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 and then I'm going to send it in. So I just built out the first prompt, and it basically said everything that we spoke about. But the cool thing about Replit as well is that we can improve the prompt. So we're just going to do that really quick, and then we're going to send it in. And I recommend you guys pausing the screen now and just using this exact prompt. So now that we have that built out, let's send it in and let's get this build going. Okay, cool guys. And so whenever it gives us the proposal, we just want to always start with the initial prototype, because I think the best way to work with these AI no coders is to do one feature at a time. Now, what I'm asking in the prompt is just the infrastructure, but I'm not actually adding the features yet. So that's why we want to do it in this format. So let's send that in. So in this first part of the build, guys, what I'm really looking for is just the ability to sign into the application, and then we're going to move on from there. So hopefully it's able to just build that out for us. We can sign in with an email, and then we can add our first functionality. So the first functionality we're going to build is the car value estimator. Now the agent prompted us with the secrets, and basically the secrets is what we spoke about in our last tutorial, where all of our API keys can be stored in this secrets folder. And it actually stores them from other projects as well, and you can choose the ones that you want to approve. And so in this example, guys, we already have our Perplexity API key, we have our Stripe secret key, and we have our Stripe public key. And so for the time being, we're going to change this, but for the time being, even if you don't have this information, you can just click continue and we can move forward. Okay guys, so we just reached our first checkpoint, and as we can see here, it only is asking for the username. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that that turns into an email. So that's our first prompt. We're basically just say, I want the login to be with the email instead of a normal username, so we can track each person with their unique email address. Okay, yeah, so that's my prompt here. We're gonna send that in. Okay, awesome. So now we got this update where we can now register with the email address. So we're just going to register now, and we're just gonna make a fake password and see what happens. So now we got this new update that it says error, username and password are required. So I'm just going to let the agent know that. Next. All right, guys, so we just got that new update. Now let's see if we can sign in with our email. So here we are, we got the update now. Let's see what happens. Let's register. Okay, beautiful. Now we're in. We're going to see what has already been built for us. So we're going to see what happens when we click get started. So it sends us to this page where we get the car valuation, the inventory, and the leads. Okay, so that's a decent start. Now we need to actually start building out the logic. So the first thing that we're going to do, guys, is build out the car valuation. And the car valuation, like I said, is going to be in America and Canada to start, and we can roll this out to Australia and Europe. But just to start, guys, we're going to be using the Canadian dollar and the American dollar. And we have to change this page so that it can actually be a form that gets submitted to our API. And so the first thing that we're going to prompt this AI with is that information. We want to say, hey, I want to change this page to a form where I can add the year, the model, the kilometers, and the condition of the car, and then basically use that to search the web and give me your estimation. So that's what we're going to write now. And then we'll see what happens from there. Okay, so we just got that newest update back. So now let's log in with that account that we built. Okay, so now that we're back in that same account, we can go to the car valuation. And so now we got a much better looking form. And the one thing that it doesn't have yet is the differentiator between kilometers and miles. So that's our last update. So we're just going to say, allow the user to select between kilometers and miles in the mileage section. While that's happening, I just realized it did another update behind the scenes where it actually puts the email of the signed in user in the header, which is pretty cool. And in the future, we can add, a profile picture badge, and we can add a username. So this isn't just their email. So right now we just had the email as the sign in, but eventually we'd have email, username, and password. And then the username would be put right here. Okay, so we just got that newest update back. So now let's see if we can actually use the form to get a car valuation. There still might be an error there because we haven't actually made an API call yet. So that's our next step, right? We want to see if the actual first functionality is built. So we're going to go to this car valuation, and we're now going to actually use a car that I own. So it's a 2017 Nissan Altima. And here, I guess we're going to write the exact model. So it's a Nissan Altima SL 2.5 liter. And it's in kilometers, and it's at around 185,000 kilometers, and it's in Canadian dollars. And as you guys can see here, there's one more issue. In the drop down, there still is no Canadian dollar. So we're just going to say add the Canadian dollar to the currency drop down. And then after that update, guys, then we'll see if the API call works. Now let's test functionality. Let's log in. Let's go here and let's put in those same numbers. So Nissan Altima 2.5 liters, kilometers, 190,000, sure, in Canadian dollars. So let's see what happens here. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so as we're clicking the get valuation, it's saying that we received the valuation successfully, but we didn't actually get anything back. So that's all we're gonna say to the agent. I did the form and submitted it. The form did not give me a response. It did say the valuation was received, but I did not get any information back. on the page. Okay, so it says it sees the issue. So it says, while we're successfully submitting the form and getting a response from the Perplexity API, we're not properly displaying the valuation results on the page. Okay, so it already knows what the issue is, which is absolutely beautiful. It gave us that new update, and it also said that the chat is getting too long. So we're just going to open up a new chat with the agent, and we're going to also check if this functionality works. So we're just going to do the exact same thing here, guys. We're going to log in, 2017 Nissan Altima 2.5 liter SL. Kilometers 180,000 and Canadian valuation. Let's see. Okay, so we did get the response back. So we got our first initial response where it has the estimated value at $6,350. It gave us a brief market analysis explaining the actual car. So yeah, it's a V6 engine, 2.5 liter. It's a mid-range trim, which is actually a lie. It's actually one of the higher trims, but it does say that it's more expensive than the base and lower trims. And it explains that, you know, the mileage is the reason why the value is impacted. So that's all good. It also explains where it got its source from. So that so far is a good start, but we do want all of the sources of the websites that this thing is giving us. So we're also going to write, the response is good. Now I want you to add another price variable that breaks down the price range of the car in the country that the currency is in. But now we also want to add the common issues of a car. Because if we're flipping used cars, guys, we want to make sure that we know all of the common issues that are associated with each vehicle. And so for an example, the Nissan Altima that I own, guys, has a history of having a bad transmission. And so that's something that I knew, but if someone didn't own a Nissan Altima 2017, they might not know that that's the main issue. And who knows, maybe they go and buy a car in that model in that year, and then a couple of weeks later, the transmission blows. And so this is something that we want to add to Flipify because it's a huge piece of value for the people using Flipify, because then they can get an in-depth breakdown of all the common issues. And so that's the next thing that we want to add to this car valuation. And so that's what we're going to add into this prompt. So now let's see what happens after this update. Okay, so this is a really good sign in this newest message from our agent, because it understands that this new API call needs to be a separate API call. Because if we were to use the same API call, it won't give us that information back because it's trying to find the valuation of the car. So that's one API call that we're using Perplexity for, and now this one is going to be the common issues. And if you guys are wondering the costs associated to Perplexity, it's actually like one of the most affordable AI APIs I've ever seen in my life, because we've been using this for now a couple of weeks, and I started with $3. And I've only used $1.40, which is absolutely insane. The margins on this new project is really, really high. And so we don't have to charge our users that much to actually use our platform, because it's not using that much out of our own pocket to make these API calls. All right, so it said it added that feature. So now we can see if that's true. So let's log in, get started. Now let's add this Nissan Altima once again. Okay, let's get our valuation. Cool. Now let's see if we get the common issues. It's loading. And we got the common issues. Awesome. So now that we have all of the common issues, we can actually make this look really pretty, right? So let's first of all see what it says. So the first thing that it brought up, guys, is that the number one high severity issue is the transmission failing. So it actually did exactly what we wanted in terms of ranking the severities of the issues, because that is genuinely the number one issue. And the next one would be the engine. And so the engine and the transmission basically go hand in hand. And so it basically breaks that down. It says engine problems include stalling, power loss, and complete shutdown. But it also notes that it's less frequent of an issue than the transmission. And so that's awesome. And so now obviously we want to make this look pretty. And so there's some different things we can prompt the AI to actually make this look pretty. And so that's what we're going to do next. And then we're going to move on to our next feature. So first, let's make this look good. So we're going to say, okay, both the valuation and the common issues works, but the responses are not pretty. We need to format the responses in a list form. Each common issue needs its own row in the list. Color code the severity. So if a severity is high, make that row red. Okay, so we're going to send that in, but it looks like the car valuation and common issues page will be complete as an MVP version after this next update. Then we can get into the VIN verification, we can get into the inventory and building out the CRM as well. Okay, so it just gave us that last update. So now let's see if that page is basically done for, the first edition of it. And then obviously when this thing's live, you guys have seen that we continuously update all of our software projects as we get responses, right? So we're building this out, but then eventually with you guys' feedback, we're gonna make it even better over time. So we got the valuation. As you guys can see, we're still getting these symbols, which is something that we can fix in a bit. But what I do like is that it gave us the low condition, average condition, and high condition of the vehicle. And also another thing that we're gonna have to fix is that the current market value is fluctuating a little bit here, and that's okay because it is sourcing it from the internet. So it can, grab a different source of, links that give it a different valuation, but the valuation is pretty similar. Now let's see the Get Common Issues page. Okay, so the Get Common Issues page still needs some work, and so this is something that we can either touch on now or touch on in the future. But what I do like that it's starting to do, though, is it's starting to include the links that it used to actually give us these breakdowns. And so the breakdowns are accurate. They just don't look good yet. And so this is something that we can work on, and we're going to just work on it right now just so we can make this look good. So okay guys, so with this update, if it doesn't look pretty, we're gonna move on because we're worried about functionality today. Making things look good is definitely not that hard, right? So we're worried about making things actually work in this video. Okay, so we're just gonna do the exact same stuff, get that valuation back. And another thing, obviously, when you click that valuation button, we want an animation as well. And we have this thing called clonify.design that basically gives us all of that stuff. So that's cool. So as you guys can see here, it's starting to make things look a little bit prettier. So it's going to get there. It also gave us all of the sources, so that's great. Now let's hop into the common issues. And yeah, so the common issues analysis didn't actually give us anything back, so there is an error, and this is something that we can come back to in a bit. So for the time being, guys, we're gonna move on from this because we wanna add some more functionality because you guys can see that this thing is pretty much working. We just need to now make things look good. So we're gonna move on. Now, the next thing we want to do is actually do a VIN number check. So a lot of ways that people get scammed with cars is by people selling a car that isn't actually the trim that they say it is. So if this is a Nissan Altima SL, someone can pretend that this is a Nissan Altima SV, and an SV is worth a lot less. And so if they pretend that the car is an SL and they sell it as an SL, they're gonna scam you and make a lot of money. And so previously, like I said, on Carfax, you're able to do that, but for $70. And so we're gonna do that today, but it's going to cost nothing. And so the next thing we're gonna add or ask our AI to do is this VIN number check. So I wanna say, okay, let's add a new feature. This page is going to be the vehicle history report. So you guys may be wondering why we're not using the VIN audit API or the Cars XE API, and that's just because it costs money, right? So the only thing that I care about right now is getting the functionality to work, because then once it works, we can change the Perplexity API with the VIN audit API that actually has verified history reports. Now, the Perplexity API still should be able to do the history report, but it won't be verified, right? And so this is something we can offer for free, and then if they want that verified history report, then they can upgrade to a pro plan and use the VIN audit API. Okay, so it implemented that new feature. Let's see if it works. I'm gonna log in, get started. So now we have the vehicle history. So we're gonna input the VIN number. We're going to break down the model. So the vehicle model is an SL 2.5 liter, and the country that it's in is Canada. So now let's see what happens here. Okay, so it just gave us the breakdown. So it says, the year, you got it correct. As you guys can see, we didn't put the year in. So this is very accurate. It got the model accurately. It got the location of the car accurately. and then it still broke down some additional issues that could be happening from this type of car. It also breaks down the type of recalls that could be happening and other issues. And so now you get, two different breakdowns of the same car with the car valuation and the vehicle history report. And we can continue to add on top of this, right? So the other thing that, Carfax adds in their $70 charge here is a lien check. And a lien check is basically like, does the car have any money owed on it, right? And so that's the next thing that we can add to this vehicle history report. So we're gonna say, okay, that works. So this is kind of a risk. I kind of want this agent in this update to basically fix the response format for every single one of the API calls that we have built in so far. Okay guys, so now let's test every single feature that we have gotten back so far and see where we're at, right? So let's go into get started. Let's see if the dark mode works. Okay, so dark mode does not work right now, so that's one. Now let's see the valuation. So 2017 Nissan. Looks like some of the dark mode feature is working because now like these things are changing colors. So let's add in the kilometers, Canadian, let's get the valuation. Okay, that looks pretty decent. We also have all of the sources. So I actually like how this looks so far. And then the only thing that we need to do is tell the AI to find the current market value from this response and put it here, and then find the price range from this response and put it here. So that's fine, that's an easy fix. Now let's see the common issues. Okay, so the common issues is still not working, that's okay. Let's go into the vehicle history. Let's see what happens here. Let's get the history report. Okay, awesome. So it gave us the overall history report as a pass, which is cool. So there's obviously some things that it's not adding as well. So it needs to give us the full breakdown. But what it did was it took inspiration from the image that we gave it, and then it basically used that to give us this nice looking overall result, which is good, but we still have a lot of things to do. So the first thing we want to do, guys, is actually fix this common issues analysis. So that's the thing we're going to say. We're going to say common issues analysis did not give us a response. For now, we're going to send that in, and then we're going to, if this all works, then we can move on. But if not, then we actually have to continue to work together on figuring out how to fix this, these minor display issues. And so while that's happening, guys, we can see that so far out of everything that we have built, it has costed us $1.50 here on Replit, which is unbelievable. All right, so now let's see what happened with these updates. Hopefully things are working well. Let's go get started. So I see like it thinks dark mode's working. We're gonna leave it at light mode for now. We're gonna just put in all of this information, just see what type of response we get right now. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, so nothing's changed on this page. Let's go common issues. Yeah, so the common issues as well is not working. So that's quite annoying. So we need to basically redo the entire common issues analysis, and that's what we have to tell the AI. So we have to say if this last update doesn't work here, guys, and it doesn't show us the formatting correctly, I can just go into Canva and I can design how I want the format to look, and then I'll send that image back to the agent. So if that doesn't work, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're gonna go same 180,000. Let's see what happens. So this valuation should be the exact same because we didn't ask to change anything. Okay, now let's see what happens for the common issues. There we go. Okay, so we're getting somewhere, right? So we got the 5 common issues, and now it doesn't actually have the exact common issues of the car. So that's good. So we're then gonna say, okay, boys, we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Okay, awesome. So in this checkpoint, it's a really good sign that it's now gonna add all of the stuff that we add in that form to the common issues request as well. We're just gonna submit the exact same car valuation, but we know that the actual valuation we're gonna get back is not gonna look good. The only thing we're worried about is how the common issues looks, right? So we're not gonna worry about this first response because we know what we're gonna get here, but now let's see what happens with the common issues. Okay, so the common issues is still not giving us any of the correct information. So we're just gonna copy this in, and we're gonna say, I tried it again. Okay, so it gave us those updates. Hopefully it can actually source the common issues, because we already saw that it was able to do that once, right? But it just didn't have the right format. So that's a good sign. We just now need to make sure it's in a good format, and then we can start moving on to other features. So let's see what happens here. Okay, let's see the common issues. Boom. Alrighty, guys. So now we got the common issues in order, breaks it down. It's accurate because, like I said, we know our own car. The main issue with this car is the transmission, followed by the engine, followed by electrical issues, followed by power steering. So that is absolutely beautiful, guys. It gave us the sources. It gave us everything basically that we need on this page, and it's still maintaining accuracy when it actually gives us the market analysis. Now, the only thing that we need to do to actually make this entire first page done is we need this valuation analysis to include the current market value and price range in this nice little block that it added. So we're just going to write that. We're going to say, okay, the common issues works. Now let's fix the valuation. Okay, beautiful, guys. So if this next step works, then we can move on to building out the inventory logic, building out the CRM and the leads handling, and then we'll probably end the video there, and then you guys will see that flipify.ai will be a live tool, and you guys will be able to sign up, and we're going to make future videos on how we're improving it. But also, guys, this is just the first of many Replit software tutorial builds. In the future, we're going to be building specific CRM tools for like the real estate industry, for home improvement industries. We have a couple of mobile apps that we have in mind that we saw other people build, and we want to show you guys how to build those as well. So this is really just the beginning of a whole wave of software that we're going to be building together. But the reason why I'm showing you guys this one first is because this is the one that I'm going to be launching as well. So this is going to be the third software company that, you know, our team Batty Ventures is coming out with. And so I want to show you guys that we're actually launching no code tools. Okay, so if this update is what I think it is, then this first page of car valuation is going to be complete. So hopefully it gives us a nice looking valuation page, and then we can move on. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it still didn't do that for us, so we're just going to say that. Okay, just got the newest update back. Hopefully things are working. So let's see what we got. So 2017, boom, boom, okay. Alrighty, guys, so there we go. We got the current market value in the header, we got the price range in the header as well, and then we got the market analysis breakdown, and we can continue to make things look prettier, right? Because we don't want these symbols, but you know, you guys are seeing that we're able to fix basically anything that we want to fix. So we're going to move on from this page because we got everything that we needed to get done. Now we can see the common issues. And boom. Okay, so the common issues works, the market analysis works, all of that is perfect. And the only way we can see if it's genuinely working is by adding a random car. And so now we're just going to add like a 2020 Ford Mustang GT. And we're going to say the kilometers is around, I don't know, 75,000, right? So if this, in my prediction, right? So a 2020 Ford Mustang GT with 75,000 kilometers, let's say the price in my estimation is like $35,000 Canadian. Okay, so that's my guess of how much it's worth. Let's see what we get. So we got 43,500, and then we got the price range of 38,000 to 50,000. So that's pretty good. I was decently close there.